Yo, what's up guys? In this video, I'm so excited. I'm actually so excited to share because as you guys know, letting go is something I've spent a lot of time, what? 5, 6, 8 years? Whatever. Spent a lot of time just trying to understand, what is what is going on, in terms of suffering especially. My house is such a spiritual place. Every time I go to the kitchen, I get so triggered. And it's not even right now, it's not even like the big things that trigger me. It's like the small things that people do that kind of like mildly annoy people that really gets to me. For example, my housemates, they don't do the trash. At least they used to not do the trash unless I went and confronted them. But in the past, they didn't do the trash, right? So there'd be the trash can, okay? And people like keep piling up trash expecting someone else to clean it. But if you're like playing Jenga with the trash, even if I wanted to, I have to take out some trash from this trash can to another trash can. Who will do all that? And I'm thinking, yo, what is going on? And the worst part in this situation is another thing. They every time they use the kitchen, it's like half of their food goes to the kitchen. You know what I mean? It's like they're trying to like feed the kitchen counter more than themselves. And I'm like looking at this, I'm like, yo, who's gonna clean all this? Not me. And it's not you as well. So then I have to make a choice. Do I want to like cook in a dirty kitchen, or then I have to like take the responsibility and clean it? But then I'm thinking, you know what? This is unfair. This is not what someone is supposed to do. And and I think the biggest picture here is that I think the biggest picture here is that there are so many little things in life that just get to you, and it doesn't matter whether it doesn't matter whether they're supposed to get to you or not. I think we spend so much time just thinking, oh, of course this is not supposed to get to you. If you're so spiritual, and if you like got the stuff together, of course you can't let small things like this trigger you. No, I think it's perfectly normal to like get into this kind of stuff. The question is, how do you get out? How do you get out? And what I felt so strongly was a sense of unfairness, anger towards them, resentment, and a sense of I really wanted to control the situation. I really wanted to go, hey, you do this, hey, you do that. And I could see all this stuff arising within my awareness. Yeah. Another huge thing that gets to me is my house temperature. They constantly keep fluctuating, right? So they put it like 78 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like too hot for me. I live in like a very cold place. And I'm like thinking, yo, like, and I was like so triggered by this entire event, right? I'm like putting to 79, 71, they're putting to 78, 79, and I'm like super annoyed. And what's funny about this entire situation is that I actually closed my that vent duct with like a grocery bag, right? So that hot air doesn't come into my room, and it's my door is open as well. My window is open as well. So the temperature in my room is actually not that bad. However, even though the temperature is not that bad, I still felt like, you know what? I should be controlling the thermostat. They shouldn't do this. They are not supposed to do this. How can they increase the temperature like this? This is such a petty thing. Knowing the fact that after closing my AC vent duct, the air duct, I was living a pretty okay life, like much better than before. My room was not like super overheated and all that stuff. And I think the biggest question here is, how can you get out of situations like this where you feel like you want to have a sense of control, and it feels like there is no opt out button, it feels like it feels like I've been subscribed to this gym membership, yeah, that I didn't even go to, However, they're charging me $200 every month, which I don't want to pay. However, I feel like I do not have the option to opt out. Does that make sense? I think most people have this kind of relationship with the the gym membership, where you get in, where you opt in, you pay this high upfront fee, and then you like never go to the gym. And then you think, you know what, I'm gonna like opt out. And then every month the money is like going from your credit card, and it feels like you don't have an option to opt out. In this video, we are going to understand quite a long intro, but in this video, we are going to understand mm, what is going on in this head, and what is causing the suffering in the first place, and how do you get out of it. And luckily enough, the answer is simple, but it's not easy, but it is simple enough to explain. I finally understood everything in a way where I can explain to you guys. Now, without further ado, without further ado, you're gonna like love this because I actually put some time in creating a thing. Oh. Okay. Uh, just give me. I'm supposed to actually figure this stuff out beforehand. So let me just put this on papa, put this here. Okay, then Windows capture. Live streaming. Just give me 1 second, guys. Almost there. Almost there. I actually created this amazing, like this 3D visualization, which I need to find it. What? It says 3D here. I don't see 3D. Is this? Yep. Boom. Found it. Guys, I created this amazing 3D visualization that you're going to laugh. Like, how can you not laugh at? Is the real question. So look at this. So you might be thinking what this is. Don't worry about it. You see this filters here. Let me just. uh, doesn't matter, I guess. You see this filters here. Now you look through it. You see some sort of triangle, and you're seeing all these transparent filters here. And what is going on is you see this first filter right here. If you can like see my cursor, this first filter is like thoughts. The second filter is like feelings. Third filter is like sensations. Fourth filter, whatever. So let's say this is the perspective you're looking at the object. So your entire view of world is this box. The entire view of world is this box. We are trying to understand what is going on in their head. Now, if you zoom out a bit, uh, if you zoom out a bit, you kind of like start noticing different aspects of yourself that's coming to like take control over, and that is giving you the effect of, oh, of course I don't have the option to opt out. How can you have the option to opt out, dude? It's like, what? So if you look here, this is exactly how I from my experience it looks like. So you have this object here, right? Whatever object, this is like the real world object. And this filter right here is your sense of eye. So every time you're looking at the world, you're not looking at like this, you're kind of looking at like this. You're kind of looking at the world like this. Okay. And this is your entire perspective. And what most of the self-help thing does is that if you change the color of this filter, you'll start to see a different image. For example, if I go to this filter and if I make it white, okay, and if we start looking again, you notice the color is slightly different because the filter is different. Now if you like, now if now let's say I make this white, and if I like make this also white, let's just give an example, right? Now this, imagine this, these are your thoughts, these are your feelings, These are your like sensations. So I have like this thoughts, feelings, sensations. Then you have the belief system, and this is the ego. And this red thing is like that narcissistic sense of pleasure that we're going to come to very soon. That is like the part that really like gets to you, and it's very hard to notice anyway. So if you like notice, it's very hard. Now you see the color of the thing is changed a bit because the color of the filters are being changed. Now if I think it's because of, okay, so I get it now. So you notice this. So and this is how, so now if you like put all of them transparent, now you like look at like a green triangle. Notice even the triangle that you're looking at, it's not even the actual object. The actual object is like a pyramid, it's like a star pyramid, right? However, when you look at it like this, you look at like a very hazy triangle, okay? And you think this is what it is, and you try to like think, why is this a triangle? I wanted a square, in reality it's not even a triangle in the first place. It's a situation. So in my story where I was talking to about my roommates and stuff like that, I had lots of filters like this. The kind of thoughts I was having, oh, I'm gonna like do this, I'm gonna do that. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna like go to them and I'm gonna like tell them, hey, you, hey, you're not supposed to like do this kind of stuff. You're not supposed to keep the kitchen ugly. You're supposed to make it clean. And I'm like thinking all this. Oh, and I will tell them this, and I'm gonna make them feel bad. Pa, 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 pa. Once you start noticing your thoughts, okay, you start noticing the feelings associated with the thoughts. For example, the feelings are the one that colors or gives context to the thoughts. If thoughts are your content, feelings give the context. For example, if you're going to a horror film, right, you're afraid. At least I'm I'm afraid. Okay, all my thoughts are coming up in my head. It's related to, okay, how can I run away from this theater? How can I look like I'm not scared? How can I be very cool? How can I be okay with this environment? I'm thinking all these thoughts. However, all these thoughts are colored by the emotion associated with. You see this action? This is the emotion. This is the thought on top of emotion. You see, it's like a, yeah. Anyway, so so if before you are if before the filter look like this, imagine this is your thoughts and emotions, and you can't distinguish it. The more you notice your thoughts, you start making a distinction slowly. It's a matter of time. Okay, we have literally millennia, like ages to do this, so don't worry about time. Literally, like, as you start noticing this, you start noticing, wait a minute, this is actually a different component. Oh my god, these are actually your feelings. It is completely different from the thought. Anyway, once you start noticing the feelings, you start, like, it should be like this, right? You start noticing the sensations. Once you like start looking at the feeling, you start noticing the sensation in your body. Where am I feeling this exactly? Am I feeling this in my chest? You'll start to develop sensitivity. Am I feeling this in my chest? Am I feeling this in my stomach? Where exactly am I feeling it? What kind of sensation is it? Is it like a pulsating sensation, or is it like a radiating sensation? Or is it like a small dot that kind of like moves like this? And you start to notice, where is the highest intensity of the sensation in your body. Like, is it in my chest? Okay, I usually have it, how below your sternum, if this is your like a rib cage like this, you see this inverted V here. Right below this inverted V, I have the sensation of anxiety. And or anytime I want to speak and I feel like I'm being shut down, I have a sensation right here where I'll feel a little bit like choked, and I feel like I want to cry. And every time you want to cry, your like throat gets blocked because you want to say something but you're not saying, and you're like doing that, doing this to yourself. It's so, yeah. And then once you like start noticing the sensation, you will start you'll start putting two and two together. You'll start thinking, okay, this is the kind of thoughts I have. This is the kind of thoughts I have. This is the kind of feelings I have. Right? Let me put a color to this. This is the kind of thoughts I have. This is the kind of feelings I have. These are the kind of sensations I have about the situation. You know, and you can like start to like derive the beliefs that is causing it. Beliefs. What are beliefs? Beliefs are a definition that you're giving to reality. Definition. For example, in that house incident, I'm telling them they're not supposed to do this. They should, of course, they should keep the kitchen clean. Of course, they should not stack the trash. Obviously, these are beliefs. These are definitions that I have a bias towards. They should do this is a belief, and then I have a bias associated with it, which is the desire component of the belief. Oh, they should do this, and I personally, my state of being is attached to this outcome, attached to this expectation. Of course, I should keep the kitchen clean, you know? There's an expectation. Notice all this. There's an expectation. Oh, of course there's of course you should wash all your dishes, you know? Of course you should wash all your dishes immediately after eating. Why would you wait for like an entire day and have the kitchen dirty? This is like the expectations that you're having. And these are like beliefs. Okay. Even till here, if you're really into self-help, you would have if you're really into self-help, you would have realized. However, the biggest difference here that I want to tell you is this. You look at these beliefs, okay? There is a deeper layer from beliefs that I've noticed that if you change this belief, if you change this layer, your beliefs will change, consequently the thoughts will change, consequently this will change, consequently this, because this filter is like the closest to the ego. It's mostly like this, you know what I mean? And this last slab is the sense of I. This is your ego. Everything happens, you're looking from that perspective. Like this is how you're looking at the world usually. And you have all these filters coloring your perspective. Now now what is this pink thing? Okay, this is very nuanced to understand, but I'm giving you the entire journey so that you know what to look for, especially when you're looking within. Again, suffering is a work where you look within, and the number one thing you have to remember is don't trust anyone. Even this kind of stuff, look into your direct experience, okay, and see, is this true? Is thoughts really comes after belief, or does feelings come first and then thoughts come later? I don't know. You tell me. In my experience, this is the case. But I'm also trying to give you a way where you can verify all this for your experience as well. So this red thing is really important. So let's talk about this for a while. Now, what is this red thing? Now, this red thing is the narcissistic sense of pleasure. I don't know how to word it better. It's a narcissistic sense of pleasure when your expectation manifests in the world. When they actually clean the dish. When I like told them, you're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to clean the kitchen. I'm not usually that aggressive, but when I say you're not supposed to clean the kitchen, wait, you're supposed to clean the kitchen. You're not supposed to do this, and I'm being that aggressive. Yeah, inwardly I'm getting juice from it. It's like every time you watch a drama you get the satisfaction. You're like, yeah, yeah, tell them, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be done. Yeah. You get this narcissistic sense of satisfaction, and that's the real thing you have to let go. Because in my experience it's very hard to let go of pain, because pain doesn't feel like a cause, it feels like an consequence of something. For example, imagine your car crashed. Yeah, the car burning after the car crash is what I'm able to perceive, and naturally the car is burning, that's what I'm able to perceive. However, the car However, I'm suffering not because the car crashed. Okay, I'm not suffering because the car crashed. The car crashed because I decided to look at my phone. Yeah, and I decided to go, yeah, I'm gonna like scroll uh, uh, Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook while driving, and and while scrolling the phone, I'm getting some pleasure out of it. I'm getting some pleasure out of consuming the information out of my phone, and me being distracted while driving is what is causing the suffering. There's a pleasure associated with this, very hard to notice because it's not immediately direct. It doesn't immediately like click. You have to find out, how does this serve me? How does me believing this serve me? They shouldn't do this, they should do this. How does that really serve me? Where am I getting this narcissistic sense of pleasure? Every time you watch some drama, you're getting some juice. You're like going, yeah, tell him this is not supposed to go like this. And every time you're so involved in the drama, even the drama shows that you watch, right? There is like a sense of pleasure that is being generated. Or if I have like talk a little bit scientific, it seems like even during the drama, there is like some level of dopamine that's keep getting secreted. Because what we think about dopamine, it's like, oh, once the end outcome reaches, boom, dopamine is released. I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's more like, even when the belief is playing out, even when the drama is unfolding, even when I'm going to my roommates and saying, yo, you're not supposed to do this. Why would you put a tin foil in the sink? Why would you not just put it in the dustbin? Like, are you going to use a tin foil? No. Even during drama like this, I'm saying there is a sense of pleasure, a satisfaction, a narcissistic sense of juice that you're getting out of the situation, that your ego is squeezing, which is going, ah, yeah, yeah. I'm like acting crazy. Yeah, there is like this is like a juice, man. I don't know how to explain it, that you're getting. And once you notice this red, once you notice that you're because you getting the juice is a decision. Follow me. Pain is a consequence. Pain is a consequence of a displaced pleasure. Okay. Pain, pain you cannot control. At least in my experience, I feel like I cannot control pain. If I'm like suffering inside and if I'm feeling intense emotions, I don't feel I have like an opt out button, as I think, because I don't feel pain is something I'm causing. It feels like pain is an effect that I'm getting because of a decision that I took, but I never really understood what the decision is. Look at it. Look at this yellow ring. Okay, look at this very carefully. Now, if you ask me, Prem, let go of this yellow ring. Of course, easy. But imagine I'm holding nothing. Look, empty hands. Okay, no magic tricks. Empty hands. And you ask, Prem, let go of the yellow ring. What? Let go of the yellow ring. What? How can I let go of something that I have no, that I'm not holding on to? Look, am I holding on to the yellow ring? No. So you can only let go of something that you're holding on to. Notice this fact. It's simple, but it boggles our mind. So if you're not holding on to something, and if I ask you, let go of the yellow ring, you're not even holding yellow ring. How would you let go? If I say, Prem, let go of the blue ring. The blue ring I'm not even holding on to. It feels like the blue ring is happening to me. You follow me? It feels like the suffering is happening to me. Blue ring here being the suffering and the yellow ring being the pleasure. What you're holding on to secretly in the subconscious mind is this pleasure that you're getting through this drama. It's a pleasure that ego is getting. What's funny about all this, I'll go on to that next point. The next point is coming. It's also ready to how to escape this, is that Your ego is holding on to this pleasure and it's like getting some juice, it's like, ah, my precious. It's like the Lord of the Ring character where there's a small, I don't know, what, gremlin or whatever, which has the, which has a ring, right? The Lord of the Rings. And it's asking, oh, my precious, oh, wow, this is mine, this is. You see that gremlin is getting some juice. It's getting some narcissistic sense of pleasure by holding on to the ring. That is what you have to let go. Because that pleasure is something that you're choosing. It's a bias that you're choosing to project on the world. It's a bias that you're choosing to like put it like this. So close to you, like this. This bias is something totally we are created. Because think about it, out of all the things, why should the Lord of the Rings character, the small gremlin, be so attached to the ring, right? And Lord of the Rings being the movie where there is going to be the one ring that rules them all, and this little gremlin gets a hold of this ring, and it goes, "My precious." I'm sure that many people saw that meme. But why was the gremlin attached to the ring so much? Because the gremlin received like a narcissistic sense of pleasure by holding on to it. Because when the gremlin was holding on to the ring, it meant absolute power. It meant absolute control, something that person didn't have from the beginning of their life till they found the ring. He didn't have the control. He always longed. It's like, damn, once if I have control over the world, mm, then man, then my life will be complete. And that's what the ring offered him. The ring offered him a way where he can now have some sense of power over other people. And that's something he desperately wanted. However, notice this bias that you have, that I don't have power and I don't have this, is all something literally you are creating. Although it's hard to notice, you are creating this. That is true. And there's a void inside your place, and you're constantly searching outside to fill that void within your soul. And whenever you're constantly searching outside, your ego unconsciously grabs this, man. Your ego unconsciously pop grabs this, and every time it grabs it, it's like a dopamine hit. It's like you won the lottery. It's like it feels so good, but it's so hard to notice this because you're not even noticing the sensation. You're not even seeing this happening. You're kind of like this. Look. You're kind of like looking at the situation like this, and in the background, see, in the background I'm feeling, I'm holding on to it in the background. But from your point of view, because you haven't put in the time and the effort to just to notice, simply like notice all this stuff happening. Isn't it fucking wild? Nobody's like noticing anything. But so right now, your point of view is like this, and you're thinking, Preem, I don't see this pleasure. What are you talking about? I don't see this narcissistic sense of juice that I'm receiving when it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel whenever I have an expectation on someone. It doesn't feel whenever I tell my roommates or I tell my housemates, don't do this. You're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to do like this. Why are you chopping onions this? There's another thing. Like, why are you washing dishes this way? Why are you like putting soap on all the dishes and then and then washing it? Why don't you just take the dish, put the soap, wash the dish, then take the next dish? Why don't you do it that way? And of course, the reason being in India and Pakistan, there's like a water shortage usually. So, what people do to save water, they mostly first soap all the dishes and then they use the same water to like clean all the dishes. And then finally, they use the goal here being to use as little water as they can. I didn't know this. My friend kind of pointed it out, and then I was like, oh, okay, cool. Anyway, so I'm like, why are you doing this? Every time I'm setting expectation on them, there is a narcissistic sense of pleasure that you're receiving, and your ego will do anything. I mean, mm, anything to make sure you are getting the supply to this juice, supply to this pleasure juice machine is not cut. There's a constant supply of this pleasure juice machine, and your ego makes sure that you have this supply. Your ego makes sure that this connection is not split. And it's so hard to notice because it's happening in the background like this. And you might be able to notice the thoughts, you might be able to notice the feelings, you might be able to notice sensation, hell, you might even be able to notice the belief. But then I was like, yo, I'm noticing the belief, but I feel like I don't have any. Where am I holding on to? Even it feels like belief is like a consequence. Then you like zoom back, and then you like notice something red, and then you like start noticing the ego, and then you start noticing the pleasure. And I think, you know what, Prem? Do I really want to receive pleasure from something so myopic as this? For something so myopic as, oh, you're not cutting the onions the right way. You're supposed to cut the onions like this. Pop, pop, pop. Pop, 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 pop. Do I really wish to gain pleasure out of situations like this? Does it really serve me? When you ask your soul automatically knows the answer. The only reason your soul is not removing this kind of pleasure because your soul doesn't even know that you have this kind of pleasure in the first place. But once your soul notices, damn, I'm getting like some weird narcissistic kind of pleasure from controlling these people, from controlling a situation, from milking this drama, you know? You're milking this drama. Man, your soul will automatically say, ew, I don't want this. It will say, trust yourself on that. So how do you let go? So how do you let go? If you notice, I didn't create this entire thing on a 2D surface. I could have easily drawn this on a 3D, on a 2D plane. I could easily have drawn diagrams. However, I didn't do that. The reason being, you have this green thing, which is your eye. You see this point of view machine, which is like going like this. This is your witness. This is what your witness looks like. This is what your witnessing the thoughts look like. Oh, I'm just looking at the thoughts like this. It's like this. This is what your thoughts like that. So this is what you look like. Oh, this is my witness looking at the thoughts. And notice what I'm doing here. Don't. This is very profound what I'm saying. This is literally at the crux of all of spirituality. Any spiritual tradition you go, this is literally the method. This is literally what you want to accomplish. How you do this, totally up to you. Totally up to you. And what are you trying to do here? Notice. Notice me saying, notice. Notice this. Notice. Do this. So, right now, everything is like this. Everything is like this. Okay. Right now, this is how everything is. All these layers are like this. Okay. And you're like, Prim, what do I notice? I see only like, imagine this. I see only like one thing. This is your ego, right? And you're looking at entire situation like this. Prim, what do I notice? What do I notice here? Tell me. Okay. First of all, start with noticing your actions. All right. That is going to be the step number one. Start with the noticing. You see this, you see this point of view. Start to cultivate a loving self-reflection. Not a very anxious one. I'm saying very loving one. Don't judge. You're already judging other people. Why are you you're already judging other people and that's a lot of stress. Why would you then judge yourself as well? So don't judge. Start by noticing your actions. That will be first step. It'll be like this, and you look at your actions. Even while you're going through the actions, just notice it. The moment you notice it, you're out of it. Notice, notice this. You see this point of view. The moment before there was no point of view. Engrossed in this. I'm so engrossed in this thought. I'm looking at like this, right? This is how my friend. The moment I notice this, okay, the moment I zoom out a bit here, the moment I zoom out, all right, you're cultivating something called the witness. It's like this big eye. It's like this one giant eye that is just looking. Can't do anything else. It's an awareness that's just being aware. Oh, oh, look at Preem doing this. Oh, look at Preem being angry at their housemates. Oh, look at Preem trying to change the temperature. Oh, it's like this one giant eye that you just go, look at Preem do this. Oh, look at Preem do that. You start by noticing your actions. And that's it. You're just gonna abuse. And each time you try to notice, it's like a new boss fight. It's like a new level up. And it's gonna be different. Different things require you to notice differently. And to unlock this ability of notice is what is the hard work. Because, for example, to notice lust versus to notice envy versus to notice wrath, anger, pride, y- you have to look inwards a little bit differently. You have to start self reflecting like, yo, what is actually going on? Self reflecting. Notice this. Notice me saying noticing. I'm going, oh, notice Prem saying noticing. Notice Prem saying noticing, Prem saying noticing. Wow. So you start by noticing, and this is the only skill you need. And finally, you start noticing your actions, you start noticing your feelings, you start noticing your sensations associated with it, you start noticing the beliefs, you start noticing the thoughts, you start noticing the thoughts, and finally, you start seeing in your unconscious this narcissistic sense of pleasure. Let me say that again. This narcissistic sense of pleasure, this juice that I'm getting, or like, yeah, uh-huh, this juice that I'm getting from this. And that once you see that, all you have to do is ask, do I require this? Do I really need this pleasure in my life right now? And if you have suffered enough, you think, you know what, for the suffering I'm getting, this pleasure is just not worth it. And then boom, you let go. Ah, boom, you let go. And then, yeah. And then finally, you'll start building your own model. And finally, you'll start building a custom model of spirituality that is that you'll start cultivating with such love and affection. And a new situation is going to arise, and then you're like going to notice the actions that you make, then you're going to notice the thoughts, then you're going to notice the feelings, then you're going to notice the sensations, then you'll notice the beliefs, then you'll notice, oh, this belief is coming from a sense of control. Oh, there are only like three types of major beliefs. Pleasure, pleasure, sen- pleasure areas that a belief exploits. One is four. There are four major pleasure exploits, I would call it. Pleasure exploits. Listen carefully. Listen, all right? Notice me saying listen. Your need to control. Watch, watch, watch. I'm trying to control my housemates, right? The desire to control. Your belief is designed to control stuff. You get a narcissistic sense of pleasure. Boom. The need of approval. Oh, if this recognition. Oh, if this guy only recognizes me, man. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. Need for approval, need for safety and security. Man, if I only get that paycheck, dude. That paycheck, man, the sweet money, the green. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. The green. And the final one, which is a more complex one that you don't have to deal with if you're going to real life, but it's still there, is a sense of separation, which is the cause of all this, right? You're creating a duality. However, that's a little bit beyond the scope of this video, I guess. But even if you just notice this three and you notice, oh, my belief is arising because I want to control something. Oh, this belief is arising because I want this guy's approval. Of course, I want this guy's approval because I feel like I lack this area in my life. You know, I I go to this gym, right? I'm going to gym, and I see there are like people with like muscles and stuff, and I immediately go in my head and immediately like form judgments, you know. And I'm noticing all this like, damn, I wish I had that as well. If only this guy suddenly just came up and like taught me how to like get this kind of muscles, or can I even possible? I'm like getting all these thoughts, right? And all of this coming is a need for approval, you know. like like everybody's like super polite in the gym, but sometimes I try to like be extra polite to the people who are actually look good looking. And I think, why am I doing all this? It's just like need for approval that's like pointless. Need for approval, need for safety and security, need for safety and security, my job, my income, so much of my livelihood is associated with it. And I think so much of the suffering is even associated with it. I'm doing my job. It's a pretty good job. I'm doing a job that many people don't have the luxury to do. However, even when I'm doing the job, there's a deep sense of unsatisfaction. I'm doing the job and I'm thinking, yo, what am I doing with my life? I like talking about this kind of stuff, right? But I have to do like I'm doing data science, right? As you guys know, I'm in AI, artificial intelligence. So I'm like dealing with complex stuff. And I'm thinking, I can do it. It's not a problem. But I'm thinking, man, there's like a sense of unsatisfaction. And there's an immediate sense of suffering. But there is like a pleasure that I am associating myself with because there's a need for safety and survival. If I didn't do that job, I won't have this good camera. I won't have this lights. I won't have the luxury to even do the YouTube channel. I probably won't even have the internet connection. There are many things that just doesn't work out, I guess. It is what it is. But you see, even right now, I'm noticing all this stuff arising. And once you notice these beliefs, man, the three kinds of beliefs, remember? Need for control, need for approval, need for safety and security, and finally the need for separation, creating a separation between you and me, which is also imaginary. However, if you really want to go into that, you can. And then you'll start noticing the pleasure that's associated with it. It's like a pleasure exploit. And then you like notice this pleasure and think, oh, it's not, I am buying into this because I'm of this pleasure. I'm getting this pleasure as a reward, right? Now, is it worth it? Does it serve me? Hmm. Okay. If someone was brave enough to watch this 43-minute live, here I'll give you some gold. Now, your ego has all sorts of mechanisms to stop you from noticing. All right. Let me just. Your ego has all sorts of mechanism to stop you from noticing. To stop you. How does it do it? Let me quickly say that. One, the need uh yeah. One is projection. What it does, it projects outwards. So you're always noticing something out there. So you'll never notice within. Okay. Because it knows if you notice within, boom. It's like a self-destruct sequence started. You're noticing outward. That's one. Next is like fear and paranoia. Like fear and paranoia. That's the second thing. I actually made a video on this channel called Six Level, Six Ways Ego Manipulates You, or something like that. I think it should be like a pinned video, right? So you have your projection, you have the fear, you have the reward, okay? Then you have, I always keep forgetting all this. Judgments. Mm? You have your judgments, you project judgments onto people. Oh, this is probably this kind of person. Oh, of course he's gonna act like this way. He's this kind of person, you know. Of course he's gonna act this way. He's like an untidy guy. Of course he's gonna not clean the kitchen, you know. He's like an untidy dude. He's like a not a clean dude, you know. Judgments, rationalization, rationalization. Start to rationalize stuff. Of course it's not my fault. Why would it be my fault, Prem? Why would it be my fault? They are not keeping the kitchen clean. They are not doing this. Of course people are supposed to clean the trash. If you're living in a house together, of course it's only, not only your responsibility but everybody else's responsibility to clean the trash. Of course you have every right to judge them. Rationalization. You kind of rationalize your behavior. Everybody rationalizes their behavior. So what did I say? I said paranoia. uh, Paranoia, reward, judgments, rationalization, hmm, projection. Yeah, you project outwards. I always forget one. There are like six. Uh, I can't remember on top of my head. And you can just see how tricky it is. It's so hard to even remember this because, like fish in the water, we are surrounded by it, you know. And the moment you start, you're like a fish in a fish bowl, right? The moment you see the entire fish bowl outside you, automatically you're outside it. Automatically you gain a sense of freedom that is so important to your well-being. That is so important to your well-being. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys like the three example. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. As you guys know, I love researching this kind of stuff and kind of putting it in a way that other people understand. So if you guys tell me, Prem, I understood in this. Prem, I didn't understand this. I would be happy to make another video. Happy, delighted, joyous. That's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, of course, share. You know, it really helps with the circulation of this video. See you guys in the next video.